and welcome to the May Stitch With Me in 2026. This is an ongoing workshop where each month I release a new prompt. This month's prompt is the satin stitch. Now this is a traditional stitch, a basic stitch, a stitch that you learn when you start stitching. It's a series of parallel stitches. They can be in different shapes, whether it creates a circle or a square or a rectangle and so on. And while it's one of the basic stitches, I find it to be one of the most difficult. There are a couple of tips to get a really good result. There are some variations, and there are some ways that you can play with it. And I try and show you that all in the first 8 minutes. Now, I find it a difficult stitch. It's not one of my favorites. It's a super effective stitch. It's very important for stitching because it creates a lovely effect. But to get that effect requires a steady hand, a lot of precision. But it's worth it. It's just not one of the ones that I go to. I like the little creative stitches, and this one requires a lot of skill. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with it because your work is stunning. Each piece that you post in our Facebook group really makes me smile. So let's get started. So here's a little sampler of the satin stitch, and it gives so many variations. I just wanted to touch base with them and then demonstrate the stitch. The stitch can be used with any number of threads of embroidery floss, and by that I mean you can use all 6 or just 1. Now it's traditionally recommended 1 or 2 because you get a very fine result. So here's just a little sample of using embroidery floss. So here's an example of the 6 strands of embroidery floss using just 1 or 6. And it gets a lot chunkier the thicker the number of strands or the more strands to something more delicate. There's no right or wrong. Even if it's traditionally recommended to use 1 or 2, use what you like, the effect you like. I happen to like a chunky stitch, but not everybody does. Now, with the satin stitch, because it's just a series of parallel stitches, you can decide the direction the stitch goes. So here on these 2 moons, for example, I have it going parallel to the bottom here or diagonal. You get a slightly different effect. I particularly like the satin stitch for narrow cylinders and shapes. So this little O is nice. It creates a beautiful curve and it gives you a beautiful, stunning shape. Here is the same premise, but because of the way you put it, you can actually see the direction. So the satin stitch is beautiful for stitching text. The larger the stitch you make, the longer, the more unruly it becomes and the more likely it is to warp or puff up or wrinkle. So here I have a larger shape, and instead of stitching it all with the same color, I used different colors, but I broke the shape down into sections. And I find that quite effective. Another thing with the satin stitch is right here, I can make this beautiful shape just by parallel stitches. Here I can do the same thing, a different shape, but I can change the color of the floss used, which I love. On this one, I created a little popsicle. For the popsicle, I wanted to have gradient of colors. So it's quite effective that way. This is a little flower, and you can change the direction of the petals, making it really stand out. I like that effect. Here's another variation. I have the satin stitch of just that little squiggle, and then I overlapped it here, a wrapped satin stitch. So this would make a great candy cane, these type of elements to your design. And lastly, which I think is very traditional, is the leaves. I love them. I think they look beautiful with a satin stitch, and there's so many variations. You can do the leaves coming out from the stem. You can do them perpendicular to the stem. You could break the leaf up into separate sections and leave a little space between. Or you can do the same thing and not leave a space. Here I just did little leaves, and because they were small, I could just do them in different directions. So that's the sample of the satin stitch. I find it really helpful. Now let me show you how to create this. So there are different methods to actually create the satin stitch. The satin stitch works best on smaller objects because I discussed making that long stitch. Now, the most basic method is to take your needle, and here I have a shape, just a simple cylinder really, and I'll just come up, and because the shape is long, I like to divide my shape in half, or even in quarters. So I'll come up on one of the lines, and you want to be really careful to get it right on the line. And then I go down over here on the next line. Now I'm using 2 strands of embroidery floss because I feel like that's the sweet spot. I do like the effect of more strands, but for the demonstration, I'm going to show you just the 2. And I'll just come up here and go side by side, filling in the satin stitch. Now, this is a very beautiful stitch. It's also a very fussy stitch. So if you space it out like I did unintentionally, you'll want to come in and fill in those spaces. Now, you can move around your objects and fill them in as you go, or you can fill them in neatly right away. I think it depends on your personality. So I'm just going to fill these in. So I feel like to get the satin stitch to make it most effective, it has to be neat. It's okay if it's not perfect, but it's one of these stitches that I really feel makes such a difference when it's nice and sharp and crisp. The lines, the edges are nice. So this is a basic way. It's not necessarily the best way, but it's not the worst way either. It's a simple way. It depends on the shapes you're making and how you're creating it. And you can see it's a little fussy. I'm trying to make sure that I don't have gaps in between the stitches, that my stitches are lying flat. And then I can complete this little shape. And there you have a satin stitch. Now it takes a while. It's a little fussy to make it exact, but it is beautiful. It's the same procedure with a round one. You just vary the size of the stitches. Now to start with, I like to start in the center. I have 3 strands of embroidery floss this time instead of 2. I think it'll make it go a little bit quicker and it'll fill it in. And you'll also see a slight variation. So I create the first stitch. You can go in any direction. I just chose to go north and south. And then I'm just going to make sure I come up on that line. And it's a really fussy procedure, so that I want to make sure I come up on that line, not just slightly off it, but on it. And then I go down on it as well. Now I'm going to work my way to the side, and I'll come back and fill the gaps on my way to the center. And you can determine how tight you want the stitches to be, how close together. And then when you come to the end, it will be the most short you have. And you can decide again, depending on how many strands of thread you're stitching with, how many stitches to make towards the end. This one filled in quite nicely. And I have half of my circle completed. I'll complete the other half. So as you can see, I have a beautiful stitch circle. Another variation is to stitch around the edge with either a straight stitch. I like to use a stem stitch. Some people like to use a split stitch to make a nice sharp edge. And you can do what's called padding. And that means before you start your satin stitch, you come up in your shape and you make little stitches. And this is going to give you a little bit of padding. So I'm just going to make a series of little seed stitches inside my shape. And basically I'm doing this to buffer or pad the overall shape. Now I'm still using 3 strands of floss, and I'm just filling this area with little stitches. Some people like to stuff this with a piece of fabric, a piece of batting. They add a few stitches to hold it in place. And the result gives you a little shape that has a little bit of a height and texture to it, like a somewhat of a dome. The more stitches you use to fill in, the more heft your little shape will have. So I'm pleased with the amount of stitches I have in here. The next thing I want to do is now start my satin stitch. So I'll still go up and down, north and south. I'll come up just to the outside of the ring I stitched and come down on the other side of it. And now I'll just completely finish stitching it in the same way I did before. I'll come up on the side and the bottom and fill in all my stitches. And the result is slightly different, and it results in a very neat shape. So you can see that it's not really that different. You have your circle, your line, and your filled in shape. So now let's get started. I want to show you how I create my satin stitch for the prompt. These are the previous pages that we've done, the January prompt, February, March, and April, and they'll attach in the book over here by the spine, and so this is why I'm leaving this open. Sometime next month, I'll start going over attaching the pages to the spine. In fact, I think we'll work on the cover maybe in a couple months. I'll put out a video, but you can work on it whenever you'd like. So today, let's work on the satin stitch. So I have my page here, I have my label, I already wrote on it, and that's going to go on the side. Try and keep that in mind. And then I made a little line here just so that I remember that that's where my spine is going to attach. So for the satin stitch, I want to take advantage of the smoothness of the stitch. So I was thinking I would make a paint palette, and I'll use some of my fabric scraps, the colors that coincide with my book, and then I'll stitch one with a satin stitch. I also have some other pieces here that I want to add for texture. So there I have my design. The next stage is just to tack everything down before I start my satin stitch. So now I have everything tacked down the way I want. My little children's palette's coming along nicely. I have my label here, which I'm going to trim after next month when I attach them. And so now I want to do my satin stitch. As you can tell, I'm kind of dreading this, but we'll go with it. So I could stitch around the border, but I'm just going to stitch long stitches here. This is a little big for what I want, but I'm going to make it work. So I'm going to come up here and stitch. Now, one tip is it's so much easier to do the satin stitch if your stitching piece is stationary, meaning in a hoop, and you can keep it taut. It really does make a difference, but it's not required. It's just, it'll be a little more challenging without it. This time I'm using pearl cotton thread instead of embroidery floss. It can be done this way. It has a little more texture, which I don't mind, but it doesn't give the same smooth effect that 1 or 2 strands of embroidery floss would give. So if you know that going in and you're prepared for that, then that's great. So I'm just going to continue stitching this. It's kind of a monotonous task, so I'll just speed ahead to the end. So I've stitched my little orange here so that I have my little colors, and now I want it to look a little bit more like a palette. It's kind of flat here. So I think I'm going to put a paintbrush, and I'll stitch the bristles of the paintbrush with the satin stitch. So I have this color fabric here. Maybe I'll clip this. It's always kind of fun to add these little embellishments at the end. So I kind of have this kind of paintbrush idea going on. So I'll tack that down with the same color thread. So I stitched the brush handle and the little silver part that holds the bristles in place. And now I'll just kind of create the shape I want for the brush hairs. I have some brown thread and some black thread. I'm going to mix them both just to create that satin stitch shape. There, once I have the shape of the brush, I'll come in with some black thread and just add a few more hairs to it. And there I have my May prompt for satin stitch. I might come back in and add a little more stitching, but I'm pretty pleased with that for now. So that's the satin stitch, that's the May prompt. The next few months, not only will I give the prompts, but I'll show how I start adding the pages to our book. Now, not all of you are creating a book, and that's totally fine. But if you're interested in learning the process of creating a book that you might use someday, you might want to follow along. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. And I can't wait to see your work in our Facebook group. Thanks for watching.